Hey guys, TheInevitableSaiyan here doing my Every Card is a Story segment, and this is episode 8 or 9, something like that. But the card of this story is Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, Ultra from Shadow of Infinity. And it's unlimited, I think, if that matters. But yeah, basically what we're going to do with the story, guys, you know how this segment works, guys. I have a story for basically every card in my collection, and I basically just get up here and tell you some little neat story of how I acquired this card or why it's in my collection, why it's significant or whatnot. So let's just get started. So basically some background before I get into this story is Shadow of Infinity was the first, or the second actually sneak peek I ever went to. Elemental Energy is when I really started getting into the game competitively and going to sneak peeks and stuff like that to duel like these other people that were also in it for money and cars and stuff like that. Elemental Energy and Shadow of Infinity were kind of when I got out of that whole just going over to a friend's house to play with Blue Eyes and Obelisk and Red Eyes and stuff like that. That was when I really started to understand the game and get into it competitively. So Shadow of Infinity, basically how I got this card was, there's a pretty long story to this actually, but it's actually pretty interesting, so I do hope you guys continue to watch this, even though it might be a little long. But I had this friend called Kyle, and he was really cool friend, basically one of my best friends from around third grade to sixth grade, and that was basically at the time of this video, or not the video, the time of this card, because Shadow of Infinity came out I think when I was in fifth grade, and me and Kyle, we were just like best friends. We went over to each other's houses like every week it seemed, and I was like the big Yu-Gi-Oh guy, because if you remember from my last story of Every Card is a Story, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh with my friend Stuart, and Kyle got into Yu-Gi-Oh after he kind of saw me and Stuart do it so often. So Kyle was the kind of late guy that got into Yu-Gi-Oh, but he still really enjoyed it. And basically what happened was with this card is I distinctly remember that I wanted Kyle to go to the Shadow of Infinity sneak peek with me because he'd never been to one before. And he eventually came to the sneak peek, and he thought it was just the coolest thing ever. And I remember at the sneak peek, everybody was just after these three god cards. I mean, everybody was just like, this is the new Obelisk, which in reality it is. It's the new Obelisk. Uriah's the new Cypher, and Hamon's the new Ra. And everybody was after them. I mean, you could not go like 5 minutes without some guy with a backpack and a hat coming up to you, just being like, "Hey, do you have Hamon or Raviel?" That's another thing I noticed. Everybody asked for Hamon and Raviel. Nobody cared about Uriah, and I feel as though that's just like the collector's aspect of it. Uriah was like Ra. It's just like, oh my God, Merrick's so cool. He's got Ra, and Kaiba's so awesome. He's got Obelisk. It's just like Yugi had Cypher. Nobody cared about Cypher, so thus nobody cared about Uriah. So nobody was asking for Uriah. But basically what happened was Kyle went to my first sneak peek with me at Shadow of Infinity, the set that this came out in, and neither of us pulled the god cards, or these gods, everybody, the big high money people were after them and everything, and I don't remember how much they went for at the time. I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines of like $35 for 40 for each of them, probably like the $10 more for this one, because it was the better one, in the opinion of everybody else at the time. But basically what happened was we went home, and this was this was not a Friday. The next Friday, this was a Saturday, and I don't remember what time of the year it was, but the next Friday what happened was me and Kyle got together, and I went over to his house, because we just went over to each other's houses pretty much like every week, and it wasn't like a sleepover or anything. It was just like I went there like after school and stayed till like really late at night, like 11 or 12 or something like that. And we had just like the best time. We would sit there, and I distinctly remember for all my Naruto followers out there, we went there to watch the new Naruto episode at the time, which was premiering, and I don't remember what the number episode it was, but I remember it was the episode during the Chunin exams when they were going into the Forest of Death, and Sasuke was like unconscious, I think, for some reason, and Sakura was like manning the fort, and the Sound Ninja guys went to attack them. I think it was Dosu, Keen, and Zaku, I think were their names. And Sakura got all brave and cut her own hair off and stuff like that. So that was the episode that was going on at the time that this night was happening, if you guys just want to relate to a little time frame there. But I went over to Kyle's house, and his mom was home because his dad was a fisherman, so he was only there for like a day or two out of every 2 weeks. So I didn't see his dad that often. So it was just me, Kyle, and his mom. And we had the greatest time. We were sitting there organizing our cards, making these new decks, adjusting our regular decks, dueling all the time, eating popcorn, watching the new Naruto episodes, watching whatever was on Toonami or Cartoon Network or something like that. This might have been a Saturday now that I think about it, because I think we were watching Toonami. But yeah, we just had the greatest time, and Kyle had the suggestion that we duel his mom, and it was really the funniest thing because I ran a Elemental Hero deck, and he ran a Destiny Hero deck, so it was really cool, and we had the cool idea to, like, tag team duel his mom, and his mom actually knew how to duel, which was the funny thing, because apparently he, like, dueled with her to practice a bunch of times, because she wanted to spend time with him, so she actually knew how to duel, nowhere near as good as we did, but she knew the basics around everything, and we sat down, and we literally dueled his mom for a match, and it was really just the funniest thing, because his mom was just, like, the sweetest person ever, and we worked it out to where, like, I would do my turn, then she would do her turn, then Kyle would do his turn, then she would do her turn. So in reality, in our opinion, it was pretty fair because she got to go twice for every time that each of us went. And what happened was we made a bet, and we said, like, if his mom wins, then, like, we'll have to clean some room, like, before we leave or something like that. Just like a room that was like a couple boxes piled up that had dust all over. It was like if she wins, we had to clean the room, but if we won, she had to buy each of us like 4 of the new packs at Target, and the new pack at the time was Shadow Infinity. So she agreed, just because she thought it was funny, and I think, you know, she wanted to, because like my dad took Kyle to the sneak peek, and he didn't ask for any money, even though it cost, like, you know, $20 to enter and everything. So I think she felt like she kind of owed my dad, so she agreed. And she ended up losing. We did a match, and I think me and Kyle won both of the first two rounds. And she lost, so she had to buy us 4 packs. And we never really stuck to anything, because at the time, you know, even though we were like 10, it was still kind of like, okay, you know, you don't really have to buy us anything, something like that. So I went home. You know, my dad picked me up that night after that great time at Kyle's house, and like the next day, I think that was a Saturday, and the next day was Sunday, and I was just like in my room, you know, doing whatever I was doing in 5th grade, like my homework for that next week, or watching TV or something, and the doorbell rings, and I go down to answer, and it's his mom, and she's sitting, and then my dad comes up over my shoulder. He's like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing here?" And she comes up and just has these 4 packs in her hand. She's like, "Oh yeah, I owed your son 4 packs because they dueled me last night and they won." And my dad was just like, what? You know, my dad was really mad. He was just kind of, he wasn't like mad, but he was like, you know, "Son, you shouldn't have done that. You know, she doesn't have to do that. That's too much money for us to spend on you," or something like that. Not too much money for them to spend on me, but, you know, it was just the etiquette. It was like, you know, you shouldn't make your friend's mom, you know, do that kind of thing. But anyway, I was just, after that small argument with my dad, I went up to my room with my 4 packs, and I opened them, and out of one of them was this freaking Ultra Raviel Lord of Phantasms, and I was just like ecstatic. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I won this by dueling my friend's mom, and, you know, it was just the coolest card. Everybody was after it, and it was the greatest thing of all time, just having that. It was the greatest feeling, because, like, I earned it. I was like, I dueled for the packs, and I got the packs, and I pulled this out of the packs. So it was awesome. Kyle came up to me the next Monday at school, and I think he pulled something decent. Like, he pulled something that ended up being like the next best card other than these 3 out of Shadow Infinity. I don't remember exactly what the card was. Well, he didn't pull any of the gods, but he pulled like the next best card to it. I don't remember what it was, but I do remember it was pretty close in value or need to the gods. But yeah, basically that's the story of how I acquired this Ultra Shadow of Infinity Raviel. It was the first Sacred Beast I ever got, and now I collect them. I pretty much have every one of the sets other than the 2 of the Ultimates, the Ultimate Raviel and the Ultimate Hamon. But I have every other one they ever printed. And I just thought that this was a great story to share with you guys. So I hope that you thumbs up the video if you liked it. Comment your opinions down below. Maybe you have a story to share similar to this about dueling your friend's mom or for packs or something like that. I don't know. If you have a similar story, you know, make a video response or comment down below. But yeah, I mean, this was just a really great time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Thumbs up the video because it helps get the video around on other people's feed, and that really helps me out. So thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next card of this Every Card is a Story episode next Friday.